What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks the Cop. We are here after a very frustrating 1-0 defeat against Southampton. I'm your host, Steve, as always, joined by my brother, Andrew, and my homie. And today we have a recurring guest, Peter Phillips, joining us. Peter, thanks for coming on. Tough match today.
Thanks again for having me on. And like you say, very, very tough evening for the Reds. And we'll speak about that at length shortly. Yeah. It's a frustrating night for everyone now.
Yeah, absolutely. A really disappointing game today. It seems like another missed opportunity. And now United, with the game in hand, has an opportunity to take sole possession of the top spot in the table. But let's get into opening statements. I want to give everybody an opportunity to really dive into this absolutely brutal game that we watched. And I think for me, really frustrating, not what I was expecting. It was really clear that Thiago is not 100% fully fit yet. I think, he had some good moments, but I was expecting a little bit more out of him. I thought the midfield itself, again, you cannot beat that low, their press. How they really stacked that midfield was really frustrating for us. We could not get any sort of consistency going through the middle, and it took us until the second half to realize that big switch was on. So honestly, really disappointing match, and I can't wait to get to the rundown because it's definitely a lot to talk about.
Yeah, for me, it was just a game of two halves. It's just this needs to stop happening. We show up to an away pitch, and it takes us 35 to 40 minutes to figure out how the team is working, how the opposing team is working, and then we can finally try to break them down. But came too little, too late. It's a great finish by Danny Ings, but you gotta give it props to Southampton in the first half. They really eliminated Thiago. They flooded the midfield, and Danny Ings and I think it was Dello up top or Theo Walcott would drop in a bit, and they completely nulled him. He couldn't do anything. He would get one touch and he'd have to play it back. So they just did a good job of eliminating our distribution. We were very poor from the get-go, and then it was a great second half to start, but then we just kind of let the foot off the gas a little bit. So it's just really disappointing. We needed to come out firing, and we didn't do that.
P, you can go next.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought the first half, all credit to Southampton. They pressed us really high up the pitch. They had men around the ball every time we had the ball. They nullified everything that we had. It seems to me as if the teams that have sort of worked out, if you can stop Liverpool's fullbacks from playing and getting balls into the box, then you're near enough stopping what Liverpool are bringing to the table. Yep. I think Thiago obviously coming back. It was coming back. It's his first appearance, so you can take into consideration that. But there was a lot of misplaced passes. There was a lack of desire. There was no fluidity in the team. It just seemed to me as though we were sort of going through the motions at stages, and as if, I don't want to say they didn't care, because obviously they do care, but it just seemed as if it was like we'll just get on with the game how it is, and instead of taking the game to Southampton, trying to create things, it was just a very lackluster performance, and one that Jurgen Klopp certainly needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to break down these type of teams that are gonna get men behind the ball and not give us any space. It's become a very, very frustrating period for us.
Yeah, I think you guys covered everything. I think for me, I'm just surprised at how we just do the same thing all the time. Let's get the ball out to wide and put crosses in the box. And we end up putting these massively deep crosses in that no one gets on. We don't play through the middle. I don't understand it. The whole point of Thiago is he can play penalty passes. Yeah, I get he wasn't fit today or fully match fit, but we didn't even try once to play through the middle. It's always to the flanks, get crosses in. And I just got frustrated. The amount of times I got frustrated with Trent losing the ball, was overhitting a cross or a pass. It's just like, or even Robbo. Like, Robbo wasn't himself today. His crosses were poor today. And it just felt to me like from the get-go, we went into this match trying to figure out, okay, well, we're going to let Southampton dictate it, and we'll see what Southampton are made of in that kind of thing. And rather than imposing ourselves straight away, then again, I question the desire. Like, it doesn't feel like these boys are actually thinking we're trying to retain a title, or they've lost the hunger from last season. Because I tweeted at half time, like, last year, we come back and win that 2-1 or 3-1, because there's that hunger, the desire.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that anymore. This time I'm seeing we start the second half and we're still passing the ball around in the back of the defense really slow. And I don't understand it. We're trying to win a game. Why are we, I said the difference as well. Southampton, the first half, they're passing it fast, making runs. We're just passing it so slowly in the defense. It's so frustrating. We're not going nowhere. I saw a stat that our first shot on target was in the 75th minute, Mane. That's poor. Yeah. It's not good enough. We can say we played better in the second half or try and butter it up, but it was poor again. Salah was non-existent. Wasn't even playing today because he made no effort. There's too many people who just poured and turn up. You look at, I think for the line, Ox, Ginny, Bobby, Salah, Alisson. Even Alisson, he was shocking today. When he comes out and nearly concedes that chance in the when he's rushing out, there's no need for him to rush out, comes off his line, kicking the ball out. I just think for me, the only one that came away from this game with any credit was Mane, because at least he was trying to be busy. He might not pulled off, but he was the only one for me. But everyone else, I think also we lost Henderson's influence in the middle of the park. We need him. We need him in the middle of the park, and it didn't work with him at centre back. Not that he played any bad at centre back, but just didn't work. We missed his influence in the middle of the park. And as you said as well, Thiago just looked off the pace, didn't look match fit, struggled. He wasn't really influencing the game. And I get it because it's his first game back, but it's just there's something wrong with the team right now, especially our away form. There's something wrong with the team, and Klopp needs to figure out what it is, because we got a hard January, and we don't buck up ideas. We can be well off the pace, and especially we're looking at City. They look in form now after that win yesterday. United grind their wins. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. Andrew, why don't we head into our into the rundown here? I think that's where we have to start, is actually with the lineup. I mean, I was shocked to see Henderson, getting the start at center back. But then otherwise, I was thrilled with the midfield. I thought this was going to be a perfect game for a guy like Oxlade-Chamberlain to have a good run. I like the idea of having Thiago and Gini Wijnaldum together. I think as the game progressed, I think we can all agree we would have rather had Thiago more forwards, maybe Wijnaldum in the 6. But that Henderson center back position, I just don't understand that. Like you guys said, we really lacked his ability in the middle of the park and his just leadership and calm in the center of the park. And I just don't think the drop off from Henderson to a guy like Reece Williams or Nat Phillips, who are natural center backs and just know the position, I don't think the drop off is that much. And I think it would have been much better to have him in the center of the park. But I know this is probably a hot topic. Andrew, what did you think on that?
Yeah, I've never thought that putting Jordan Henderson or Gini Wijnaldum as a center back was ever a good idea. I mean, their influence is Jordan Henderson in particular. His influence in the midfield clearly outweighs any negativity that would be there if we started a Reece Williams or a Nat Phillips. I mean, we had, I don't know the possession stats, but it's probably 70% of the possession. They had little work to do. They had 2 chances. One was a great goal by Danny Ings, give it to him. And the other one was, I think Dello had a chance about midway through the first half. I mean, in this game, I think Hendo would have had a much better impact. He would have been as the 6. He would have been able to push up Thiago, who, as Wahomey was looking for, there wasn't much play in the middle of the park. If Thiago moves up a little bit, I guarantee you we would have had that. So I think that was a big miss. Other than that, I mean, Ox, I was excited to see him start. He had a piss poor first half. I thought he came into the second half playing pretty well, just like most of the team. But I thought he was subbed off a little early. I thought Klopp got his subs wrong as well, and that's another issue we can talk about further. But I thought Shaqiri should have came on for Mo Salah. I thought Ox should have stayed on for maybe another 10 minutes, and then Trent was having a piss poor game as well. But James Milner coming on for Trent just doesn't make any sense to me. He was atrocious there, absolutely
that is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is on Klopp too. I think it's just the whole team. They need to figure it out. They've definitely lost the fire. It's a new year. We got to get it going. I mean, Man United is probably going to jump ahead of us. Spurs are playing well. Arsenal is starting to play well, but like Man City are coming back into the fold. So I'm not desperately worried still. I think we can get it together, but we need to figure it out now. Now's the starting point.
What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, on the past 3 games, the current form, it's not even top 4 form for me. The draw against West Bromwich Albion, then go to Newcastle as well. Didn't create a great deal, although we should have won the game. And then tonight again, a similar performance. There's a severe lack of creativity. Like you say, Henderson was the miss in the midfield tonight. That drive, that energy that he brings to the midfield. He can sort of run the game from there, can't he? He can tell players where to go, and he's losing a lot by playing in the central defensive position. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's been said numerous occasions that Jurgen Klopp is not above criticism, shall we say. He can make mistakes, and everyone's human. And I think he has made mistakes the past few games, especially with the substitutions, like you say, against Newcastle. I think he brought Shaqiri on 88 minutes or something, and then for me, the Trent for Milner one is baffling, really, because as you see, Milner
makes no sense.
He's a central midfield player or a midfield player. Then you're ending up with 3 midfield players playing in the back 4. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. And even though Trent wasn't having the best of games, he could still create something in them last 15 minutes. If you're going to take him off, then go to a back 3 and put Milner into the field, or bring him 3-4-3. So for me, the substitutions need to be addressed, and yeah, it's back to the training ground. And I think, to put it one way, the lads need a rocket up their arse.
Yeah, everyone does. Klopp too. Yeah, Klopp. This has to be a wake up call for Klopp. But homie, I want to let you get in here. I mean, what did you think of Henderson starting, and then ultimately the very questionable substitutions?
I was shocked to see. It's a hard one because I get why Klopp's done it on one hand, because he doesn't trust Phillips or Williams, because they haven't given any reason to trust them recently. Williams got done against West Brom, didn't look that great. Phillips didn't go against Newcastle. So I get it. I get he didn't trust them. But then I think that, for me, if he doesn't trust them, buy a centre-back in January, because you can't play Henderson at centre-back. So, and I tweeted like a while back saying, I said, I bet we end up seeing Henderson at centre-back because it's going to get that bad. And exactly that. And I think it's laughable we have to play Henderson at centre-back, because we're having to play our captain, our midfield general at centre-back. It's fair enough with Fabinho, but not to do it Henderson as well. In terms of the overall game, I thought we started off like really passive. We weren't moving the ball fast. There didn't seem like there was any kind of movement again for the forward line. There's no genuine movement, and I think that's again a problem. Like, there's something going on there with they're not doing the usual combination of trying to play close to each other and link up. There isn't. That's gone. So there's concern about that. I feel.
What do you think about this comment in the chat from Magical Mo? He said, "Rival teams have read us well. They know our tactics and how to stop us."
I don't think it's that. I think it's just we've been poor. I don't think it's that. I think if we move the ball faster and actually have more movement, we'll win games. But it's just been poor. It's either been poor finishing in the Newcastle game, or it's just been no movement whatsoever, like in the West Brom game. So, how are we supposed to win games if we're going to play that way? And I just felt today, I felt the midfield was going to happen what I thought it was going to be. And I thought that Trent's going to get doubled up, which he did get doubled up. Ox gave him no protection. In that first half, Ox wasn't tracking back to help Trent. Every time Trent was getting doubled up, Ox wasn't there around him. And I said, that's an issue. And I felt Trent was poor for the first goal. What was he doing? Why is he allowing the ball to bounce?
I have no idea what he's doing.
Seriously, what was he thinking? Was he trying to play with his chest, like his thigh? Like, it made no sense.
It didn't matter. I didn't understand that. And I didn't understand why Trent's marking Danny Ings. Why do we have our fullback marking the best player in terms of going forward? I didn't get that. And I didn't understand why.
In his defence to Trent, the way that ball was played in by Ward-Prowse, it was a straight ball, but it started to curl out towards the outside of the pitch. And as Trent's gone over, he may have gone with his chest. It probably would have been better to go with his head. But I just think, that he's made the wrong decision through no fault of his own by having 2 players on his side. I think it was highlighted at half time that Gini Wijnaldum left his man. So Trent ended up with one eye that way, and he's got the player there and the ball as well. So he's caught in two minds what to do. And unfortunately, that the way the ball's been played, he's misjudged it, and the ball's gone straight into Danny Ings' path. So it's very hard to be critical of these lads for what they've done over the past 2-3 seasons. And let's put things into perspective. We're still top of the league. They're still a fantastic team. I just think they're going through a very bad patch at the moment. I just think once they get it, I don't know, a little bit of confidence back into the team, and they need a good win somewhere, maybe Villa on Friday night. It could be the ample opportunity for us to go and to get some confidence back into the boys. But yeah, I just think it's obviously we're all very, very frustrated at the performance in the games, but it's very, very hard to be critical of a team that's won the Champions League and that's won the league at a canter last season. So yeah, they have took the foot off the gas slightly, but let's hope that this is the watershed, if you like, and we can come back now and against Villa and Manchester United and prove everyone and all the doubters wrong. I
think the Villa game he's going to make loads of changes though, so I don't think he'll play a strong team against Villa.
Like Origi, the fringe players, all of them are likely to get opportunities, aren't they? But I still think you'll see the likes of you might see Mo Salah, you might see Andrew Robertson, because obviously Tsimikas is still injured. You'll see James Milner. So yeah, I still think you'll see a lot of the first team lads playing in that Aston Villa game, and Klopp won't want them to go out of the competition, although he's not the biggest fan of the FA Cup. He's still going to want to get them lads some games, if you like, and try and get them back into a way of playing that they know they can do. And it's one of them. It's a bad patch at the moment, but I'm sure we'll learn a lot more from this period than we will from winning games 7 or 8-0.
No, I think I agree. I mean, when I think about where we are, it's what makes this loss really bad is the draws against West Brom and Newcastle. It's and that's the problem for me. Like, games like this are going to happen, but now the problem is for me is that this has been like pretty much since the Crystal Palace game. We just have not put our best foot forward. And again, we've had our injuries. I'm sure the guys are pretty tired, pretty busy festive period. But January, February are huge months for us, and we're pretty much going to be relying on Villa or a really big win against United, I think, to turn the season around. I think we need a little bit of luck. We haven't really had anything go our way recently. A couple handballs, today that were kind of debatable, things of that nature. If we can start, getting a lucky bounce here and there and change our fortunes a little bit, I think that could be the key to turning it around. But the one thing I wanted to ask you guys again, I mean, we talked about it already. It's a tale of two halves. Once again, not starting the best way I think that we could have, not really putting pedal to the metal. Is this becoming a concern for you guys? Because it just seems like if the other team comes full throttle at us in the first 15 minutes to make it a goal.
Yeah, I think it is a concern because I think we've seen it too many times now this season where we don't turn up into the second half in some games. There's some games where we start amazingly and we're out of the block. Most of the ones where we're at home, like the Leicester and Wolves games, but a lot of the ones when we're away, we don't turn up to the second half. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why there isn't that desire from the first go. Let's impose ourselves on these teams. I feel that maybe against some of the lower teams, there's a bit of complacency that we just think a goal's going to come because we're better than these people, we're better than them, so we don't have to try that hard. I think the Palace game was an anomaly because if you look at our XG, every shot we had went in. So I think that was a huge anomaly or an off day. That you don't get days like that normally. I think it is a concern. You can't look past the away form and say it's alarming. That's one win out of the last probably 9 away games, 2 draws, 5 the rest have been 2 defeats, the rest have been draws. So that's not really good enough. That's not tight run form.
Well, so if we've got 2 points against West Bromwich Albion, Newcastle, and tonight's game, we've come away with 2 points. So that's not tight winning form, is it? That's far from tight winning form. That's mid-table form at best. So I think it's it's one for Jurgen and the backroom staff to seriously now get their heads together, take a look at what can they change, maybe change the formation, maybe go to a 4-3-2-1 and baffle teams. I remember a few seasons ago when they played against West Ham, he played this 4-2-2-2. I don't know if you remember it when we went away, and he played this mad box formation, and he didn't have any wingers, and we come away with a victory. Maybe it's time for us to try something a little bit different, like the boys have said then. Teams have seemed to have worked out how we play, put it wide, try and stop the crosses, or make Liverpool overhit the cross, mark the men in the box. If that's been counteracted, then we need to go back to the drawing board and think, let's have a little look and see what else we can do differently. That's just my opinion on that one.
What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we've gone with the 4-3-3 for so long. It's worked for so long, and now all of a sudden, it's not working. You know, teams have seemed to have figured this out. I mean, just look at today. Southampton took away our fullbacks. They took away our number 6, and we were left with very little ideas in the first half. It wasn't until the second half when they changed things up on Southampton's side that we actually saw some possession and some opportunities. But I think teams have decided that they have a game plan against Liverpool. They know that we're the champions. They are going to bring their A game against us. They're going to have a point to prove, and the boys need to be ready for that. They need to be ready to step up and handle that challenge, and we haven't seen that so far. You know, and I was just looking at the chat. J-Doc said that, you know, 1 shot on target today. I was looking back at Newcastle, I think 4 shots on target. So and then West Brom maybe had 2. So not much creativity up front, and it needs to be better. You know, Mane, I think has been great. Firmino, we could have seen better today, but Salah needs to step up. He's had a poor run of form recently, and we need better from him. So hopefully, I'm praying Jota comes back early because we are in desperate need of him.
Jota's basically at the end of January still.
End of January?
Yeah, that's still Man United and Burnley he's going to miss.
Yeah. You touched on something there about Mo Salah. It seemed this evening that he usually hogs that right-hand touchline, doesn't he? He's usually out there in front of Trent backing up. He seems to be playing a lot more central, closer to Bobby Firmino, if you like. And there was no outlet there on that right-hand side. I know Oxlade-Chamberlain was maybe a little bit pushed wide. So maybe that was a plan from Klopp to play him a little bit more central, but it didn't seem to work at all, did it? And we lacked that width, if you like, and Salah bringing players out and drawing defenders away for space for other players to run into. I just thought Salah was stifled. He was always surrounded by players, and he didn't get himself into them sort of positions which he has done previously, which may not have been no fault of his own. He may have been told to play there, but I just think he didn't play his usual position or his usual game tonight, Salah.
I think I have a hot take right here. Do you guys think it's time that Trent maybe sees the bench for a little bit, bring in Nico? Maybe he needs some competition, because from my point of view, there's definitely a drop-off from our left side to our right side. You know, Mane and Robertson are creating all day. Even today, when we were lackluster, they were still creating. Mane, as we had said, looked our best player by far. He was the only one that actually might do something today. The drop-off with Trent and Mo, they're just not on the same page. Trent is lacking the distribution. I think Mo has gotten a little sloppy recently. So, I mean, would you guys bring on Nico Williams for this next few games? Or maybe next game?
I wouldn't. No, I'd keep Trent. You've got to play him through this form. He's the best right back in Europe for me. He's one of the most creative players.
He's not right now.
He's not at the moment. He's going through a bad patch. But if you look at his previous form, I think you've got to play him through these games. I know he was withdrawn against Palace, I think it was. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the game before when he wasn't happy at all, was it, when he got withdrawn, and he was withdrawn again tonight. So obviously Jurgen can sense that there is a drop off in form from him, but I think you've got to play him through these games to get his confidence back, because by leaving him out, it's not going to help him, is it? It's just going to make him. It's not going to do his confidence any good at all. I think you've got to be patient with him. He's come back from a long-term injury. He went out against City as well, didn't he? He had a little. He's coming back into the squad only 5-6 weeks ago. from a long-term injury. So for me, you've just got to keep persevering with him, and the form will come back eventually.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a difficult one, because I think on the one hand, Trent's our lack of attacking threat down the right is making us go down the left. It's making it easy for teams to block us out, because they know everything's going down the left, which was evident again today. I think also when Trent's poor, it affects Salah's game, because he needs Trent off in the overlap. It allows Salah to have more space. But obviously Trent's struggling. And then obviously when he's struggling, he overhits balls because he's so desperate to get in a good cross in. He's overhitting balls or snatching them. But I agree like with Peter. I think we have to play Trent through it, because he might be playing better, but I'd still rather him than Nico, because at least, Trent's still got the more experience than Nico and can still potentially put the odd good cross in. Nico doesn't offer that in terms of attacking threat. So I would think you have to play Trent through it, and hopefully that he clicks in. We still got to remember he's still only 21 and he still had that injury and stuff. So he's going to have these moments, and we just have to. I think we're used to Trent playing at such a high level that we forget how young he is, and we forget like how he's played a lot of football over the last 2 to 3 years. Right. And we expect him to produce in this high level all the time. He's still a kid, so it's difficult with him. But I think as well, like, we're badly missing Jota. We're badly missing him, because today would be a game where you drop one of the front three, you play Jota, you drop Salah today, play Jota, and you get someone else scoring. But without him there, we don't have anyone else to look to the bench to, because you can't play Shaqiri or Origi in the front three, so you don't really have anyone. And I don't like Mina in the front three, so that's killing us as well. And the fact that there's something is there that's wrong, and I don't know what it is, but it's just his body language, or in terms of combination between. I don't know. I just saw like tonight as well. There was so much link up play between Bobby and Mane. There wasn't any much link up between Bobby and Salah or Mane and Salah. I don't know. I'm not saying there's something.
Yeah.
Well, I think Peter was right earlier. Like Salah, I just feel like Salah was always right on top of Firmino. He was really stuck centrally, and I thought Mane did a good job of staying wide, and that's when he had his opportunities, and that created passing lanes to feed him from Firmino. But Angel, going back to what you were saying about Trent, I mean, I don't think he hasn't really been playing well since his injury. I don't know if there's maybe something like a little nagging thing there or something, but ever since he came back from his injury, he really hasn't put in a top class performance. Like, I don't remember a game where I was thinking, Trent having a masterclass or anything like that. But you guys are absolutely right. This game was crying out for a shot of energy, like Jota, or even a guy like Naby Keita. If it would have been great to have Naby start, or just even him coming off the bench. I think he's much better in the role. I mean, I think he's a really good guy to come off the bench in this perfect situation. Would have changed the game completely if he was available.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, and would sort of ask me the questions, but can I just put a question to you guys? I thought after the Crystal Palace game, Minamino, he scored a goal, didn't he? He was flying. He had his confidence. Yeah. And he's not been seen since. He was benched for the next game tonight. He's not been seen since. I thought Crystal Palace, you could see the lads all wrapped around him once he scored that goal. His confidence was up. They were all happy for him. And then he comes away from that game and he's not been seen since. For me, you've got to sort of, if not start him in the game, you've got to include him in some way. You've got to either bring him on or start him, and then if he's not producing, bring him off. But I just thought it was the ample opportunity after Crystal Palace when he's got his first Premier League goal. It was a good goal as well. Good finish, tidy finish, and then all of a sudden he's bombed out to the squad. What's your thoughts on that, lads?
Yeah, I think we've been saying it, like, against Newcastle, he should have been brought on. Against West Brom, he should have been brought on. I didn't understand it when today. I thought, like, why are we bringing Milner on, not Minamino on? So I tweeted that as well. I said, like, we need a goal, bring Milner on. He's legend, but he's just not going to help us create a goal. It feels like he's been thrown back in the basement for some reason. And, like, he's been told, like, go to the basement for some reason. I don't know. It's weird as well because I read an article yesterday. They were talking about after Minamino scored that goal, how he's been looking hungry in training. He's adapted to Klopp's methods. And I was thinking, okay, that's really interesting. This article, it was on Liverpool.com website. They write up Liverpool stuff, and I was just surprised. Again, I don't know what he's done to not play, but he should be playing.
Yeah, I don't know how Mo Salah goes 90 minutes today. I thought he was absolutely atrocious, like I said earlier. And why not bring a guy on like Minamino? I mean, Klopp just seems so steadfast on keeping to the formation of a 4-3-3. You can bring on Minamino and maybe switch to a 4-2-3-1 or whatever the hell you want to do. He's a very flexible player, so I don't understand why we're bringing in James Milner like Wahomey said. It just a lot of these results I think are on Klopp too. I mean, I love the guy, but he's not perfect clearly.
Yeah, I mean, look at today. Like again, with the substitutions, like I actually didn't hate the timing of them, but then I didn't like who came on. And then with Minamino, what aggravates me, it's like as a player, as a reserve player, you feel like if you work hard in training and you put in a good performance, you're gonna get rewarded for it. And he really just, he puts in a good performance. And also, how is he supposed to build a rhythm after playing a good match if it's gonna sit him on the pine again for 3 straight games? Really. I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know how that impacts his confidence. I wouldn't feel good about it if I was a player. Like, what else do I have to show you? To show you that I deserve some time. So, again, yeah, it would have been nice for a little bit of a change. And it's really interesting that you brought up that point, Andrew, about the 4-3-3 and Klopp being steadfast to keep that. I remember a time when our front three were just the movement was so fluid that they were all constantly switching places. And I don't even remember a time this season that we've really seen that. It seems like these guys are really kind of stuck in their positions, and we don't have that same fluidity up top anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. You see that with City all the time. Raheem Sterling is always switching sides with Bernardo Silva or Riyad Mahrez, whoever's playing that day. You never see Mane or Firmino or Salah really change around. Maybe Firmino and Salah every once in a while, but we need to switch things up more. We're just getting too predictable.
Well, what do you guys think of? I mean, 2 instances today. Mane getting taken down in the box, and then also the handball on Stevens. What did you guys make of those decisions? Because especially the Mane thing, it just aggravates me because it was the same exact thing as what happened to Pogba a couple days ago. And for me, it just comes down to consistency. That would have been called a handball 2 months ago. I know they've changed the ruling on the handball thing recently, but. Again, I'm just asking for consistency out of VAR and officiating. I don't care if you're consistently trash, just be consistent.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a handball. I mean, it definitely would have been called 2 months ago, but I just thought he was literally right next to the shot. He couldn't really do too much there, so I wasn't upset about that one. I was pissed off about the Mane takedown. I thought that was actually worse than Paul Pogba's. Paul Pogba tripped over his own feet. And they looked at it at VAR, and they decided to still give it as a penalty. That's absolute bullshit. The fact that this was not given as a penalty just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what a penalty is anymore. It's just the inconsistency is laughable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the second one, Mane, is a penalty. I don't see how that's not a penalty. You can clearly see there's contact on his right leg. It's a penalty. So I think anyone else team gets it, they get given that as a penalty. And I just think I don't know if I don't want to say luck's against us, but Liverpool have been screwed over. To be honest.
What about the challenge on James Milner on the cross? He went studs up. Did you see that? And there's no card at all. It should have been at least a yellow card. It's ridiculous.
There was many decisions in that game, and you guys have probably seen on Twitter and stuff that I'm not saying there's a conspiracy against Liverpool, but there's something. I don't know if you've heard about the project bigger picture when Liverpool and a few other teams have wanted to sort of move away and break away into their own sort of European leagues, and I think there was a backlash from the Premier League, wasn't there? And whether that's got something to do with it, I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of a conspiracy, but it seems that we're not getting any of these decisions that other teams are getting. Manchester United, for example, Premier League have come out a few seasons ago, Peter Schoolemore, and said the brand's not as good without Manchester United challenging in the league. It's not good for the worldwide appearance of the league. and all of a sudden United are getting these penalties, they're getting decisions that no other club are getting. So
33 penalties in 55 games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's something beyond that, isn't there? You've got to look beyond that. And for example, that Pogba decision, I was watching the game, saw it live, didn't see much in it. And then when you've seen the replay, you think, how on earth has that been given as a penalty? I thought the foul for Southampton's free kick, the Thiago, they gave it as a foul. It's a light brush across his waist. It's not, for me, it's not a foul. There's one in the second half with Gini Wijnaldum. He's been given a foul against him for a slight tug. That one on Sadio Mane was a lot worse contact than them two that was given. Maybe because it's inside the box, they don't want to give it. But for me, you've got to at least have a look at that, and the VAR has got to be held accountable and say, look, that's a penalty. He's made contact with him. He's about to go past the player.
Yeah,
you've not given it. So, yeah, there's a lot to do with the refereeing decisions, and this evening was a very poor performance from the referee, I thought.
Completely agree. I mean, and it's really funny that you brought that stuff up about Project Big Picture. I didn't even think of that, but that would make perfect sense. It's a little fuck you to Liverpool for doing that, So I can definitely see that. But other than that, I mean, opportunity missed, more drop points. How concerned are you guys are just overall just about our home form? I mean, do we have one win this season on the road and that's it? We got to turn it around at some point. We can't keep dropping points here on the road.
Yeah, I think we're our issue. I think a lot. I mean, not making excuses, but I think a lot of our issues is basically, when you're away from home, we relied a lot on the Van Dijk or Gomez long ball over the top, or you'd be able to ping the balls to the side to Trent and Robbo stuff, and we're missing that. We don't really have anyone. I saw a stat saying that there's no one really. Maybe I think it was once every 3 games that Fabinho would try one of those switching passes that stretch the play. Otherwise, we don't really have anyone since Van Dijk and Gomez got injured that actually does that. And that plays a big part in us being able to beat presses and stretch teams. So I think that's also affecting us in terms of on the road. And then, we don't turn up for the away games. I tried at the beginning to think, okay, well, maybe it's the teams we played because we had City and Everton, and I thought those are hard games away, so I could take a point. But now it's come to the point where actually now it's much more deep than that. And there is something about whether the lads aren't up for it away from home right now. And Klopp needs to figure out what he needs to do because he said after the Newcastle game he's not worried about it. He's got to be worried about it now, realistically, behind closed doors, and say, look, we've lost again away. Something needs to change here because you can't just be up for it at home at Anfield and expect to win the league. You can't win that way. You're not going to win the league that way. So this ain't the Champions League where you can get away with it because of knockout games, but in the Premiership you need to be good away from home as well. So we need to figure out something because it is concerning to me.
Yeah, I just if you're an opposing team or opposing manager, you just tell your squad to go hard for 45 minutes and you'll beat this or draw against this Liverpool team. It's always a tale of two halves. It's just either we come out flat in the first half or we come out flat in the second half. It's one of the two. It's just we need to be able to just put these things together. Last season we were so consistent because of those reasons. We always came out on the front foot, and if we didn't, we made up for it in the second half, and we definitely scored those goals. I mean, I'm always thinking of Aston Villa away. It's 85th minute, we score a goal. 90th minute, we score a goal. We're just not seeing that at all this year, and it's just concerning. And I agree with Magical Mo in the chat. He said the Anfield record's in danger now. It very well could be. I mean, teams are definitely going to be looking at these games. This run of 3 games, and they're going to say, well, we can do it at Anfield as well. So. I'm worried for that record. I think that we'll figure it out. I trust Klopp and his coaching staff. But like I said, the beginning starts right now. It has to start right now.
So to close it out, I feel like now our hands are tired. If they weren't before, we definitely need to do something defensively in January window. We gotta have to bring in another center back. But I'm almost thinking like, would you even maybe look at who's available out in loan for a loan maybe for the second half of the season? Maybe somebody who could play in that attacking midfield role, offer us a little bit more creativity. A guy who just pops in my head, just again, no links or anything, but like a Christian Eriksen-esque type of guy. I know, we need a change. Something, like you said, with homie, something's off, right? Something and maybe a little bit of a shakeup, a little fire under some people's asses might be the answer.
Yeah, I did post a poll on that a couple of weeks back. I asked if people would take Eriksen. I got slayed for it. People had to go at me saying, "Why are you saying Eriksen? Why this?" And I said, "Well, look, he had good stats at Tottenham. Now he has been poor at Inter Milan, but he had good stats. So I don't know. I don't see us getting an attacker, and even with a centre back now, I'm not 100% sure that we are going to get a centre back. I think Klopp's gonna think I've got players at my disposal. So I'd love, obviously, like I've said before, I'd love us to get a Botman, but I'm 50-50 on that now. And I think tonight, to me, just said to me, look, if you're happy to play Henderson at centre back, you've got to be going out and buying a centre back. And I don't see how there's any more stark reminder for yourself to say, look, I need a centre back, because you can't say to me that you trust Williams and Phillips, but you're going to play Henderson at centre back. So then don't fool me, because it matters when Gomez are fit. There's no way ever Klopp would ever play Hendo against ahead of them at centre back. We had full trust in them too. So I think something has to be done. I even said as well, like maybe we need to get another forward as well. But I don't see it happening. But I think we could do with another forward. I said in the summer we needed another winger after Jota, because I said that we need someone else to freshen up. Like if you look at Bayern, they've got like 4 or 5 wingers forwards. City got quite a few. Madrid got quite a few. We're only one that can simply sit with 4. Other players have got more than that. Even Tottenham, we've got 5 or 6. They can bring on and change the game, and stuff. So I think we need another one, to be honest. We need someone else, especially maybe a striker. We need someone else who's going to score goals. I know it's unlikely, but Haaland would be amazing. Someone can score goals. So that's not going to happen. But then the next best thing for me would be to be a Patterson Daka at Salzburg. He's a goal-scoring machine. We need someone else that's going to get in the box and score goals, because I much love Bobby and Salah and Mane. The days like today where you think like, if we had someone else that's going to be getting in the box and score a goal, or create something out of nothing in the centre of the box that's going to stay in there. But I don't see us getting a forward. And remains to be seen we get a centre back, because like we've seen before with Klopp, if you can't get the man, he's happy to wait until the summer, even if it annoys the fans. So I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just be very surprised if we get anybody in January. I just don't think. I think we were lucky to get the signs we did over the summer. I don't think FSG is ready to splurge more cash. I don't think Boltman's going to be coming. But I agree. I think that if we don't get any center backs, then we can't be playing Henderson as a center back. We need to be playing Reece Williams. We need to be playing Nat Phillips, because there were a few times today when Henderson, he's a midfielder. He's not a center back. When you're a center back and you're in there, I don't care how long you've been playing or how young you are. In the Premier League, you have these instincts. Where you have to be. You have positional awareness. When you need to go for a ball, when you need to sit back. And as a midfielder, you just don't have those instincts. So I think we definitely need a center back, but I just don't think that FSG are going to go with it.
I don't know. I just think this year more than most. I know that the January window is always tough. It's always difficult, but it shows a lack of ambition if you don't make a move. It's clear that you have to do something. And especially this year with how congested it is at the top, pretty much there's a lot of teams now, especially with us losing today, there's a lot of teams that are in the mix. And it could literally be one of those things where bringing in a game-changing player in January could be enough to, help you get the title. So that's the one thing that's aggravating for me is like if we don't make a move, for me, we want to win. We're here to win. And I just think it shows lack of ambition if you don't try to make a move.
I think it's also a really weird season. I think that I don't think City are going to go on a run of games where they're going to win 10 straight. I don't think United are going to do that either. I mean, you look at Chelsea, you look at Arsenal starting to come back. It's a very weird season. Leicester's starting to fight back. Southampton's clearly a threat. So, I mean, this is the Premier League at its finest, but there's just so many games and in such few times, such few amount of days that this is what's going to happen. You're going to have hiccups, and in the amount of injuries that we have, these things are going to happen.
I think Klopp's going to be stubborn. And I think he's not gonna he's not gonna budge in terms of if he can't get his targets. So he's not gonna force and buy something he doesn't want. And you're happy to wait, even if it enrages the fans, he's happy to wait to the summer to get the right man. And as much as it might annoy us and we might think we need to buy someone in January, he might not. He's just, we've seen it before, how he waited until December to get Van Dijk in. We were all saying in the summer, we need to get centre back in. He waited. So he's not someone that's going to be pressured in. I don't think it's FSG. Because FSG have shown the willing to back Klopp. They backed him every time. Klopp's has a final say if they buy someone or not. People keep saying FSG, but it's not them. It's Klopp who has a final say if we buy someone or not. So if we don't buy anyone in January, it's because Klopp decided not to buy anyone, not FSG. They backed him every time he wanted money or wanted someone. So I just think it remains to be seen whether the club actually are going to think about buying someone. I don't know. But it's just something needs to be done because that United game's frightening. Not because frightening Man United, just because of frightening of the magnitude of it. If United were to beat us, we'd never hear the end of it. If they came with a draw, we'd never hear the end of it. So it's huge in terms of us having to win that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Peter, still with us?
Yeah, I managed to get back on, boys. I lost you there. It must have been the connection.
All good. I just wanted to get your opinion on the January window. Andrew doesn't think we're going to make any moves. We're home is 50-50. Do you think we're going to be able to bring anybody in? And do you think we should bring anybody in?
To be honest with you, I don't think we're going to make a permanent signing, if you like. I think if we do bring somebody in, it'll either be a loan or a short-term deal for somebody who's available. I think Klopp alluded to it today, didn't he, in his interviews before the game, saying that the finances at the club and other clubs they're going to struggle basically. Although Liverpool, everyone thinks that they've got this array of money, multi-million-pound company, they still have to abide by the FFP rules and things like that. And I honestly don't think the money's there for us to go out and spend 50-60 million pounds on a player, especially in January when it's probably going to be a player who's not at the top of the top 3 or 4 players that Klopp's after. Obviously, there's players that are in Champions League, they're not going to want to move in January, so you're going to be looking at a player who's probably not going to be in improvements on what we already have. So for me, I think it'll either be a loan option of a player for 6 months or a player who's going to come in on a short-term contract, maybe a free agent.
I think we lost him again. But, I would agree. I think in January there's always going to be a premium put on players like we've talked about in the past. And all the players I'm assuming we're after will likely have those premiums. So I just don't think FSG or Klopp will want to do anything in January.
Yeah, it's going to be something interesting to keep an eye on for the next couple of weeks. But that pretty much wraps up this episode. I mean, do you guys even have a man of the match? To be honest, I don't even have a man of the match. It's just one of those performances. I guess Mane for me, but
I think a stretch Mane,
I guess. But hey, I mean that's that doesn't mean anything at all. So, we'll be back for the pre-match Aston Villa FA Cup 3rd round. But Peter, thanks so much for joining us again, man. Awesome having you on. We love that you're a recurring guest for us.
Thanks, Peter.
Awesome. Everyone out there, we
much
appreciate you guys tuning in. Up the Reds. We'll see you for the pre-match. If you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate you guys. But thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.